What's good, guys? It's your boy Amaro D, aka The Amar Show, and we're back with another episode of ODTV. You know what it is, and today what we're gonna be getting into is why is Gen Z obsessed with nostalgia? All right, I thought this was a cool topic to get into, and to be honest, I do think this kind of wave, this whole nostalgic wave, happens every year, if not every couple years, where it's like we cycle back around to what we used to love about the past, back in a time where things were affordable, when things were fun, when games were actually fun, when sports weren't rigged. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like it was just a golden, in particular, what I'm talking about is the 90s. Let me know what era you think was the golden era for yourself, whether you're an older gentleman or an older lady, reminiscing on the past. What was your most fond times in your history? I hope that made sense. But yeah, what was the funnest times for you in the past? What era was that? Was it the 90s? Was it the 80s? Was it the 70s? Was it the 60s? Was it the 50s? Or was it the 2000s, the 2010s? You know what I'm saying? Are you a younger cat? So for me, I'm a millennial, so I identify strongly with the 90s because everything was just going right. I didn't have no bills. I didn't have to worry about freaking affording life. You know what I mean? It's those type of things. I got to just pay attention to video games. I don't have to worry about a fatigue meter on a video game. I have a bone to pick right now because I feel like video games have become way too lifelike. Why do I gotta worry about my character becoming tired? Huh? You're a video game character. Why are you getting tired? You should be able to run miles. You should be able to run forever. Actually, I'm not putting no limit on it. You're a video game character. Why are you getting tired? Why are my bullets running out? But yeah, the pew pews in the games. Why do I got to worry about those running out? Cheat code, right quick. Unlimited ammo, unlimited weapons. You know what I mean? Easy. Let's go. I'm sorry. I wasn't a heavy gamer, so the most I'm playing my game on is like beginner level or even starter. If I'm feeling lucky. But once we get to that all-star range, I'm talking in terms of basketball. Once you get to that all-star range, whoo, I'm getting I'm getting eviscerated. I'm sorry. But I had hobbies outside of that. I remember playing sports outside. I remember playing sports outside with my boys back in the day when I was younger. I remember us kind of like it's almost like collectively growing, like where we'd find a new person on the street and we'd be like, yo, come play with us, yo. And that was our squad. And it'd be like, yo, I'm bored. Let me go see what this guy's saying. Go knock on his door. His mom answers the door. Yo, is Jimmy home? Jimmy's home. All right, yo, Jimmy, forward. He comes outside. Oh, Jimmy, you got to be home before 6 because we're going to the cousin's house. All right, we'll get him home before 6. Jimmy, let's go see what Carl's saying. Carl, let's go see what Steven's saying. And we have a squad, and then we go around the corner, and there's a whole bunch of kids we never knew before. And we're like, yo, you guys could ball? All right, we could ball too. Let's see who's better. And then we just play a game of limo or a game of 21 or even just a 5-on-5 or a 4-on-4, and just have a ball. And we end up spending hours there. And who is it? Jimmy. Jimmy doesn't get home. Jimmy's mom's calling him down, trying to find. Can't even call him because he don't even have a cell phone at that time. We're all youths, and his sister comes out and is running for him. Jimmy, did you see mom told you come home by 6? Why aren't you home by 6? Like, come kiss her teeth, and they both go down the road. But yo, good times, man. Good times. Let's get into this video, man. I'm rambling right now. I'm reminiscing on the old times because they were just that good. So we're in for a good video here, and we'll look more into it as the video goes on. All right. So excuse me for my talking. I am a talkative guy. I have opinions, and you are on my YouTube channel. So I hope you enjoy these opinions. And if you don't, comment below. Let's have a discussion, man. I'm all for the dialogue. All right. So let's get into it. Why is Gen Z obsessed with nostalgia?
Entire man caves dedicated to retro games. A 30th anniversary limited edition PS5 Pro with an old school design coming in November.
Yup, I remember that PS1
Pokemon card that sold for over $5 million. What do all these things have in common? A heavy infatuation with nostalgia. Millennials and Gen Z cannot get enough of items that remind them of their past, when times were simpler and your biggest worries consisted of what movie you would be renting from Blockbuster that weekend.
Yo, remember Blockbuster? I like personally, yeah, we did do Blockbuster sometimes, but the closest, I guess, rental place was Rogers. I forget what it's called. I don't know if it was called Rogers Rentals or something like that, but Rogers is a phone company, but they had a standalone store that was dedicated to renting movies. And I just remember, what was it? I think it was, for some reason, I have a fond memory of Bad Boys 2. and us renting that after it came out, and I was watching the Haitian scene where where he's like, "Who's there?" and he looks through the people and he just gets blamed. Crazy. But yo, those were the times, man. Remember when we used to it was a whole event where my mom and my dad would be like, "All right, come. We're going to the store and we might rent a movie on our way back. So let's go." And we used to wait for things to come on rentals, and then we go rent out the movie. And as a family, that same evening, we'd gather around, and they'd call me too. Like I'd be in my room playing with toys or doing whatever, and they would call us out, me and my siblings, and we come out, gather around the TV. We get whether it's popcorn or we're just chilling, eating dinner or something like that, and we'd be watching the movie. And it was a whole experience, man. I miss those times. I miss those times. I guess, hot take question. Comment below if you have an opinion on it. Are families like that was back when families were in style. Like it's crazy to say that. It's such a great, but let's be real. It's the truth of the matter. Back when the community was tight knit, all the way down to the family. That was your first initial instance of a community, and then as you grew up, you were into sports, you were into all sorts of things that would involve you with other families in your neighborhood, and that's where the larger community comes into play. But I feel like those things don't even like I don't say they matter, but I'm saying they're not even important to people anymore. Like you tell me the names of both your neighbors on both sides. Don't say it. But like, can you name your neighbors on both sides? What about across the street? What about at the corner of the street? I could have told you all of that back when I was a kid because we just all knew each other. Parents would chop it up. We do barbecues all the time. We just see each other in passing, say what up. Parents would stop, talk to each other, all that stuff. But is that a thing anymore? I don't think so, man. Like, do you really see kids running to other kids' doors, knocking on them? Yo, is Jimmy home? Like, I don't see that. So, let's continue this video though before I take you guys down memory lane.
Nostalgia has always been a powerful force for marketing new products, but never has it reached a level of obsession as it has with today's younger generations. So let's rewind the clock and explore the concept of nostalgia, why it's so influential, and why this fixation on the past could cause serious problems for our future.
Problems? What does he mean by problems? Nostalgia is usually something that people use to kind of escape to the past and kind of remember the good times. So I wonder what he's talking about when it comes to problems.
Exactly is nostalgia anyways? To some, it might be the warm feeling you get when reminiscing on your youth. To others, it might feel like regret from not realizing what you had until it's gone. But the most accurate definition would probably combine both of these experiences. The term nostalgia actually comes from the Greek words nostos, which means a desire to return home, and algos, which means pain. It is an oxymoron of feelings, like a fire that can both...
So the desire to return home and then pain. So you're basically home, like, I never knew this, by the way, but almost kind of like you're homesick, like you're longing for a home, you're longing to go back to a place where you once were. That's how I'm interpreting it.
Comfort you and burn you depending on how close you get to it. And there's an important reason why
I see that
exists in all of us. Christine Bacho, a psychology professor at Le Moyne College, has been studying nostalgia since the 1990s. It's even led her to develop a nostalgia inventory that assesses how prone you are to nostalgia. She's discussed her findings with a couple different outlets that you can find online now, like the American Psychological Association and the National Geographic. And in those posts, she highlights the importance of nostalgia from an evolutionary perspective. One of the biggest reasons we feel nostalgia is because it helps to unite a sense of who we are and our identities over time. Who we consider ourselves to be can change so much.
Yeah, because it's a big thing, especially in the creative industry where you find yourself through your influences. And nostalgia is, as we're little kids, we look up to certain things, we like certain things, and those things ultimately shape who we are in the present. You know what I mean? So we are an amalgamation of our experiences right now, if you get what I mean. Look at those hand movements, guy. What? We're on YouTube. What up? Go subscribe, guy. I'm sick, man. This is my, I wouldn't say this is my Kobe 81 point game. Shout out Kobe, but yo, I'm feeling it, man. Yo, I like this. Go subscribe, guy. Let's continue.
Even over the course of just a few years. And this subconsciously terrifies us. Humans naturally want to be in control of their surroundings and especially themselves. And by inducing nostalgia within us, our brains help to remind us of who we have been and compare that to who we are today to look for continuity. Because continuity in our identity signals some sort of control. The added benefit of this is that it also...
I see you, man. Yeah, continuity within your he's starting to get into authenticity now. Nostalgia confers psychological well-being by increasing authenticity. And I'm somebody who heavily believes in authenticity and that level of control over who you are right now. I think it adds to your stability as a human being, because like if you don't know who you are, then anybody could tell you who you are. You better know yourself out here. You better know yourself out here for real.
Also influences us to increase our authenticity. By reminiscing on our youth with admiration, we realign with our childlike confidence to be who we truly were before the world told us who we were.
Yep.
Nostalgia is also an extremely social emotion because it helps.
What do you say? We concur about who we were before the world told us who we were. So as a child, we were the purest form of ourselves. And I kind of see it like that as well. And as we grow up, the world tells us who we need to be. And a lot of us get lost in that. And it's sad to say, but a lot of us and I see it, like I see it in the day to day. You see that work and those type of things when you talk to people, they don't do the things that they were once doing that made them genuinely happy. Like they're just like, and I get it, don't get me wrong. So I say this with a level of empathy and sympathy. Um, like their lives are taken over by bills, by adult things. Don't get me wrong. And it's good to mature. It's good to mature. Like that is a fact of life. It's good to mature, definitely mature. But don't lose yourself in that. Maturing doesn't necessarily mean you have to leave behind everything that made you or everything that you enjoy, and you can't do that stuff anymore. Sometimes maturing just means finding a way to get paid for stuff that you like doing growing up and stuff that you continue to like doing. You know what I mean? So I think it's all about finding that alignment, Ooh, look at that. Oh, I hit the mic. Sorry. But yeah, that alignment with what you love and and you getting paid for it. You know what I mean? And I think that's like one of the biggest goals of my life, at least. Like I want to just find that alignment or get as close to that alignment as possible.
Connect us to other people. I'm sure many young people watching this can feel the sense of community that comes from watching Instagram reels or TikToks that depict what life was like in the 2000s or even early 2010s and reading all the comments about where the time has gone and how they wish they could be transported back to that time period.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no,
and God only knows the things I would do just to hear a Modern Warfare 2 lobby in my cheap $20 headset one more time.
I'm telling you.
Nostalgia.
Those are Xbox times. I was a PlayStation type of guy. So, but yeah, like back in the times where games were good. I'm gonna say it again, when games were good. All right. So all you developers out there and all that, when games were good, make them back good. Remember NBA Street? Crash Team Racing? Remember Tekken 3? Remember who else? What else? I'm not even gonna lie. NHL 2000, bro. What? Back when you used to go crazy, what else? Who am I missing? I feel like I'm missing a couple others, but you know what I mean. Back when racing games are all right still, but yeah, like the imagination. I feel like right now, especially with gaming, things are just too realistic. Like let's get back into the realm of fantasy and going over the top with these things and exaggerating reality. Like I'm going to a game to escape reality and see what's possible in the imaginary land. I don't like go to a game to still experience the confines of reality, like again, NBA players getting tired or sports people getting tired of video games. No, no, I don't want my guy to get fatigued. I don't want my guy to get injured because I'm using him too much. No, bro. If I'm with LeBron James in a video game and I'm not gonna lie, like pass the ball to this guy, bro. My guy's putting up 100. Everybody else puts up like 2 points each. Remember those times? I don't know if that's still a thing, but it shows you what type of gamer I was.
Is part of what bonds us to the most important people and memories in our lives. Yep. Without those memories, we'd never know where those bonds came from. And this can actually act as a great boost to our well-being, according to research.
Exactly. Like I think I said it before earlier on. Nostalgia really does inspire community. You know what I mean? It doesn't just remind you of who you are, but it inspires community and it brings people together. Like I'm a humongous Dragon Ball Z head. And when I come into contact with other people who are into that, like, or who are currently into that, because it's still going on. I'm pretty sure they're coming back with another series. But yeah, I get to kind of converse and we get to reminisce. And remember the first time Goku turned Super Saiyan? I remember when we used to go to the States to get episodes early because here in Canada on YTV, there are just reruns after reruns. And even on Teletoon, reruns after reruns after reruns. And I used to sit and watch all of them. That was a part of it. And that kind of leads into another conversation of streaming and having these things readily available when you want them. Because I think it was a lot more fun and a lot more engaging, even though it was annoying to sit through all those reruns and then they're like new episode dropping here and you can't wait. I remember my dad used to let me take a break from homework to go watch the new Dragon Ball Z episodes. And me and him used to be there in front of the TVs and be like, oh my gosh, this is so dope. As soon as it's done, all right, son, back to doing your work, but it was a fun time, man. I wish we still had those times. And I wish the youngins of these days could still experience that.
But the positive benefits of nostalgia actually don't stop there.
Yep.
Research has also found that nostalgia can boost inspiration and creativity.
Definitely.
Make us feel more youthful, alert, optimistic, and energetic, and even encourage us to take risks and pursue our goals.
Yeah, man. I'm telling you, like before, like with creatives, go find yourselves through your influences, man. If you don't know where to start with your influences. What do you like about them? What do they do? And build from there. That's how you do these things. With nostalgia too, it's pulling off of your past experiences to shape your future. Yeah, but you got to be careful, man. You got to be careful with that because a lot of people get stuck in the past. You still got to leave room for opportunities in the future that may happen to you, and certain experiences in the future that may happen to you, and that may help shape you as well. So you can't be blocked off from the future. You still celebrate your past while still being open to your future. That's the perfect balance, in my opinion.
Clear that nostalgia for our past is crucial for making us want to continue on in this life.
Yep.
And we can look back at how far we've come and appreciate the journey, even though that appreciation will most likely come with the ever-looming knowing that you'll never be able to relive those memories again.
Yeah,
that is when nostalgia acts as a positive force for
Yeah.
change.
No,
But
I
the
hear
problem
you.
arises when you're stuck in a singular phase of nostalgia, the phase that is most closely associated with that ever-looming knowing.
Now make all your cakes extra special.
You can get 12 fascinating issues of Zoo Books.
I remember Zoo Books.
Boy,
Chef Boyardee. I
Do
remember
you
that.
want the taste of mother's warm cooking on a cold winter's night, just like when you were a kid? Well, it all comes down to
I think this
recreating
is
that
a
signature taste.
big
So
no.
allow me to prepare regularly scheduled programming.
You know how I referred to nostalgia as an evolutionary process? Yeah, well, unfortunately, that means nostalgia also comes pre-installed with a bit of delusion to help us survive.
Yeah.
You may have heard of the term looking through rose-colored glasses before, and that's exactly what nostalgia is most of the time.
Okay, so what I think he's getting at here, and like anything else, in moderation. So nostalgia too, in moderation. You can look back, appreciate the past for what it was, while still embracing your current state and your future. You know what I mean? Like I was saying before. But with this, looking at things through rose-colored glasses, I've heard this before, where when you look at the past and you reminisce, you only reminisce about the good times. You don't remember the bad times that you went through back then. You know what I mean? And sometimes it's good to progress past these things because you forget about how hard it might have been back then. But yeah, it's for a reason, because it keeps you inspired and all that stuff. But I know some people only remember the bad things that happened to them, and that's happened to them in the past, and that's what keeps pushing them forward. But for others, it's like you got to remember, like you did have your own set of challenges, unique set of challenges back then too, and it's probably for the better that you moved past them. So
When our brains recall past memories, they purposefully leave out most of the negative experiences of that memory as a means of survival.
Yep.
A good example of this is why you might think of a previous relationship that ended in brutal heartbreak
Mhm.
with tender fondness. If you saw your past
Mhm.
relationship for more of what it actually was, a never-ending string of arguments and disagreements, you may not have the optimism to try for love again,
No,
or
you're
even
right.
life in general. Sometimes it is the case that past memories of things like relationships are so bad that you become permanently turned off from the idea of pursuing another one.
You see that so much in today's dating market where people are they were either scarred or something went left in the past and they just haven't gotten over it. And again, that's a part of maturing and knowing like, okay, the past is the past, the future can be totally different if you're ready to embrace it. So, um, yeah, like that's the message for that part in terms of relationships. Some people are obsessed with, oh, like she was so great, but I screwed up and I can't find another one. It's like, okay, bro, you took a L. but the only time you're down and out is when you stop. You still have a fighting chance for anything in life. This goes beyond relationships. You still have a fighting chance for anything in life as long as you got a heartbeat. As long as your heart's still beating, you're conscious, you got yourself, you know what I mean? And you have that confidence. That's a big thing as well. Go ahead and take a step, be brave, take a step into the unknown and really give it another go. So that's my message to everybody out there who's suffering from either heartbreak in general, whether things were good and something happened and they stopped, or things were bad that they had to stop. Well, always be open to a better future and learn from your mistakes, man. That's what it is. Life's about learning from your mistakes, taking those L's, turning them into W's, So that's motivational Omar for today. You know what I mean? Run me my coin. I'm joking. I'm playing, guys. I was on the house. But yeah, let's continue with this.
But more often than not, especially a few months post-breakup, our brain starts to conjure up a romanticized version of what life was like during that time with that person as a means to motivate us to keep moving forward.
Yep.
Yes, the past is often not as good as we thought it was.
Yep.
But what happens when your present reality has no evidence that things are going to get better anytime soon?
Mhm.
Well, that's when you start heavily relying on escaping to this romanticized past.
Yeah.
Can you guess when this has been most
Escapism
apparent
is
in recent
dangerous, man. You
years?
got to watch that.
2020, of course.
Of course.
A study in 2022 was conducted to show the relationship between nostalgic media use, escapism, and well-being during the COVID-19 pandemic. And they concluded that nostalgic media usage did increase during the pandemic, was positively associated with fear of isolation, and that it was related to both functional and dysfunctional escapism.
Mhm.
Nostalgia is one of the most influential ways in which we cope with social isolation and disconnectedness because it helps with that identity continuity that I referenced earlier.
So yeah, that makes sense that nostalgia was more prevalent during the 2020 times, the pandemic times. Yeah, like everybody was isolated. Like I was saying, I think it more refers to my point as well, where it inspires community through nostalgia. Because online, you're seeing these things, you get to talk with people who are still who are also reminiscing about these things as well, and that gives you a sense of place, especially when everybody's so far apart and isolated. It makes you feel like you're a part of a larger community that's one, if you get what I mean. As well as you could lose yourself in isolation too. I remember a lot of people were having trouble with that. So nostalgia is just there to kind of remind you of who you were, you know what I mean, and get you back to your roots so you could grow past there. So I'm glad we're past that time though, because that was a weird time to be alive. Just this past decade, bro. Let's be real, man. This past decade has just been super weird with everything that's been going on. Like, it's again, like, shout out Drake. What a time to be alive. Like, crazy times. I don't think our parents have even experienced anything like this before. The world is changing at more of a rapid pace every year. So these type of things and kind of looking back and embracing the past for what it was and letting that kind of inspire your future and help lead you into a better future is important. So every so often I like to kind of take a drive down memory lane, go to the past communities I used to live in, and kind of just not only just embrace the good times that I've had over there, but also kind of show me what I came from and how far I've come, and that in itself inspires me to, like, okay, let me see what else is possible, because I can't wait to do this again in another couple of years. And when I've progressed even more, so like come back here and be like, wow, yo, like I actually started here and I made something of myself. So let me know if you can relate down in the comments, man.
When the world stopped and the young generations were no longer capable of maturing into adulthood like generations past, they looked to the past to confirm the continuation of their identity. Not only that, but by escaping to a time period where a crisis as heavy as COVID wasn't going on, they could cope with the disastrous effects it was having on the world.
Yeah, it's
and
like
this
that
is where
relief.
the problem of too much nostalgia starts to come to light. When it is no longer motivating you to create a better future, but rather convinces you that the only good future lies in the past. Consumer Insights platform found that
you
Gen Z
can't.
are
Just to speak on that before we get into this, I'm going to wrap this up soon, by the way. But just to get into that, like, yeah, you can't be stuck on the only good times are in the past. Like, no. Good times, like, the grass ain't greener over there. The grass is greener wherever you water it. You know what I mean? So, like, even though you had good times in the past, does not mean you have to be that kind of bleak to be like, yo, there's no more good times at all for the rest of life. Like, You just counted yourself out. Like, what is that, my guy? Don't move like that. You got to be more optimistic in the way you think. Whereas I know good times are then. I know I might be going through it right now, but let me see what's working for me in this moment, because it can't all be bad. What's working for me, and let me focus on that and confide in that to keep me going. So
the most nostalgic, with 15% feeling that they'd prefer to think about the past rather than the future. Millennials aren't much further behind at 14%, and the preference continues to taper off with age.
Okay, let me go back to that screen. So let me just read that out for you guys, because I know I stopped in the middle. So it's like, which generations are feeling nostalgic? As a generation, Gen Z are the most nostalgic, with 15% feeling that they'd prefer to think about the past rather than the future. Millennials aren't much further behind at 14%, and the preference continues to taper off with age. Gen Z and millennials are driving nostalgia in the media too. Gen Z are in the lead again, with 50% of this generation feeling nostalgic for types of media, followed by 47% of millennials. All right.
Much further behind at 14%, and the preference continues to taper off with age. Gen Z and millennials are driving nostalgia in the media too. Gen Z are in the lead again, with 50% of this generation feeling nostalgic for types of media, followed by 47% of millennials.
My question is, Gen Z, y'all are still young. What do you guys have to be nostalgic about, in my opinion? Like, I don't know. Like, I was when I seen this, I'm not gonna lie. When I first seen this topic, I started researching. I'm like, what exactly do they have to be nostalgic about? Gen Z is still young, so like, do they have a old times? Like, oh my gosh, remember back then? Or remember back in the days? Can they say that right now? You guys are still pretty young. I'm not gonna lie. So I'm a millennial, so I can say that. No, I'm joking. I don't mean to be elitist or whatever you guys call it. You guys have a word for everything these days, so you know how it is. But anyways, I researched it on Google. This is what I came up with. Let's read it. AI overview. And we're going to close on this topic, okay? I'll give you guys the video so you guys can watch it on your own. But Gen Z is highly... Okay, great. Gen Z is highly drawn to borrowed nostalgia for eras they've never directly experienced, as well as early 2000s and 2010s childhood memories. They romanticize pre-social media simplicity, driving massive interest in Y2K tech, which makes sense because I've seen a crazy resurgence in Y2K branding. Just in general, look at people like, what's her name? Ice Spice. Shout out Ice Spice. She uses that branding heavy, or she used to. I'm not sure if she does anymore, but that Y2K aesthetic she uses heavy. So things like flip phones, 90s fashion, vintage music, and retro gaming. Specific cultural pillars Gen Z considers nostalgic include pop, Y2K and 2000s pop culture, shows and movies like Hannah Montana, iCarly, Lizzie McGuire, and early 2000s Disney Channel original movies. So basically family channel stuff for the people who know what I'm talking about. That's what I take from this, because all these shows were on Family Channel as well. Again, I'm in Toronto here, the GTA to be more specific. But things like Hannah Montana, iCarly, Lizzie McGuire were coming on Family Channel all the time, and we're in heavy rotation. So retro tech and media, a resurgence is in using MP3 players and collecting vintage vinyls are common. I'm seeing vinyl starting to get way more common with being sold and people collecting them. MP3 players I haven't seen yet, but I did see an artist kind of promoting that the other day. So it is what it is. But I can't really see MP3 players coming back just because we have our phones. You know what I mean? But alongside the aesthetic of the chunky digital cameras and the early 2000s internet subculture. So yeah, the chunky VHS camcorders and stuff. I've been seeing that in film a lot and music videos a lot. I do think it is a bit rinsed. Like, mans are kind of overusing it right now, and everybody's kind of leaning on that. Like, oh, I need a VHS scene. I need a VHS angle. To me, it's kind of trendy, and I'm not for it because there's nothing special about it anymore, in my opinion, because it's so rinsed. But you know what it is. Borrows 80s and 90s aesthetics, tape cassettes, draws on decades preceding their birth, rebooted entertainment, and major modern anthologies frequent tap into legacy older eras. Okay, so one thing I like before my thing, because it's gonna split me in half at 30 minutes, pause. But yeah, one thing I do like is the fashion, the baggy fashion coming back. I love that. All right. That's what I like about that. I think we're gonna cut it here just to reserve how much time I have and all that with this. Okay, so there you go. My camera stopped me there. So it's telling Omar, hurry up with it. Let's wrap this up. Okay, so it's your boy Omar OD, aka The Omar Show. This was another episode of ODTV. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please like, subscribe, comment, do the works. And yeah, follow back circle back for daily content. I'd like to be a part of your day, so allow me to be a part of your day. And yeah, man, comment below your thoughts on this topic and we'll read them. Okay? Thank you so much for tuning in. I will see you guys next time. Peace out.